Yeah. I want an endless love. Will you be my endless love? I want love and affection, not love with an expiration date. I need expression, not suppressing. What up? What's up, everybody? We are live. Live, check, 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you see me? Marriage Plug, y'all in here? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
Okay. And I'm starting to see people pour in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Marriage Plug Live.
Hey guys.
I don't feel y'all energy. What's going on, man? Totos, where y'all at? What's going on?
What's good? What's good?
Juniors, where y'all at? What's going on?
Get it.
There you go. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to let people start to roll in a little bit. Welcome to the live chat. Welcome. I'm going to let you all roll in. You can do me a favor, please. While you're here, if you can go ahead and hit the share button, and then when you're done hitting the share button, put comment in the comments, say done. Let me get a check mark. Let me get a I got you, bro. When you done sharing it, go ahead and share it.
Yes, we all sharing right now. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Let me share it while I'm talking. Let me go ahead and share this bad boy one time for the one time. We're super excited. We have an amazing topic for you all today. But let me go ahead and say this now. Feel free to go ahead and ask questions or give your comments, anything. That would be great. And I'm about to go ahead and share mine right now. Boom. Little status on there. Your mother said, watch this. Boom. All right, boom. I'm there. We're there. Super excited. All right. Well, without further ado, I go by the name of Christopher Aaron. This is my beautiful wife.
I'm Arian. Hey guys.
And together we are the 18. What's going on? Woo! And we're going to go ahead and pass this over to you next. Who wants to introduce themselves?
What's up, y'all? I'm Rebecca.
Terry.
And we are the Skinners.
Well, I guess we are next. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm Kanisha.
I'm Tony.
And we are the Protos.
Hey.
Hey.
Becky, what are we doing?
Listen, tonight, first of all, y'all better have went to YouTube to watch our first official content video, Quarantine Couples.
Yes.
There's a stranger in my house.
Yeah.
Now listen, I know that y'all know, if y'all are hip to the old school R&B, I know y'all know Tamia, There's a Stranger in My House. Took a while to figure out. There's no way you can be who you say you are. You gotta be somebody else. So listen, during this quarantine time, we have been stuck in the house with who? Our significant others, okay? Yes, this fine, sexy specimen right here. Praise God. Sanctuary. But anyway, not everybody feels that way. You see how I get excited about
got one.
right? You know, not everybody's excited about being quarantined when they stop. Okay, not everybody is happy, and so one of the things that really struck me was that the research about divorce from the United States, from the entire world, and then people filing has occurred because they actually have to spend time with one another. And so we decided that we wanted to talk about what it's like to be quarantined and give some tips, because we saw that there are some disparities happening in people's homes, people's lives, and they are faced with it now 24/7. You could go to work and not deal with it. You could go hang out with the boys or the girls and not deal with it, but now you can't go nowhere, okay? So you are dealing with it head on. And so we wanted to talk about how can we realign, recenter our marriages when we are stuck in this time together, because most likely this is the longest period of time everyone has probably been with their spouse as far as consistent minutes. Right. And so I really felt like this was an opportunity for God to recenter the family, to refocus the family, to bring us back from being so busy and focus on what is truly important. I also believe that God was going to mend some relationships back together during this time. Yeah. So that is what we're talking about tonight. Y'all better have watched that video. I know I already said that, but for real, y'all better have watched that video. I hope you are up to breast about what is going on with the quarantine couples. There's a stranger in my house.
All right, y'all. So, of course, with this video, we wanted to be interactive, just like the last video. So if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, put it in the chat, okay? That is how you're going to be interacting with us. That is how we're going to be interacting with you. So make sure you put it in the chat, okay? So as, of course, a lot of times we're looking down, that's what we're doing, is making sure that we are interacting with you guys and not missing anything in that chat. So while I'm doing that, I believe that the fellas may want to express or say some things that they've learned during this quarantine.
Well, I'll go first for the fellas. For me, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm still working right now at the moment. But I have learned a little bit more about my wife. Even though she's working from home, the grind does not stop with her. Like, I mean, she's not physically going to work no more, but she still got 1,000 things that she's still doing, still holding down the household. And that's just making me grind even that much more harder with my face mask on, going to work. Even though I'll be like, man, well, I'm still going to work, but it's still a blessing that I still have a job and still able to provide for my family. So I have learned a lot about my wife, how strong she really is.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, that's so much.
No problem. I love it.
Oh, that's cute.
That was a moment.
Your way, brother.
What about y'all, Terry, Chris?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up from what Tony said. Yeah, same thing with my wife. She been on her grind too. I'm still working as well.
Yep.
I had an opportunity to take a 14-day leave because we had some cases at my job. So they was saying that we could take a 14-day leave if you was scared that you was gonna catch it. So I took that as an opportunity to go ahead and leave because it's hard to get off at my job. So I took my opportunity. And then also, while her still working at home, I mean, she got her little spurts of still working. I still got my barbecue school stuff online that I still got to take care of. But when that's all over, then we get consistent time together. Yeah. So that was one of the things I was talking about as far as your electronic devices. Try to be social distance away from it, and try to just leave all that stuff alone and connect and
absolutely
love on each other.
Yes, that's right, baby. Yes, because look, we've had to have some discussions, haven't we, about your phone and everything else. And it's not just
I mean, people got so much to do. Like I got barber school. I got people still asking for appointments for haircut, which wasn't happening.
Yeah.
People calling me from work, asking me when I'm coming back from the leave, when my 14 days is up. So, yeah, that was time for me and you. So
yeah, and the big thing, and I know this is the men's time to talk, but I do want to say this, y'all. My Terry and I, we do not have the same schedule, so we work on opposite schedules.
Right.
And him being at home at night, y'all, that did something for our marriage that has just been a blessing. The majority of our marriage, he has worked the graveyard shift.
Right.
And so for him to be at home at night, dinner time, even like, can you imagine finally getting to sleep in the bed with your spouse? Come on, guys. Like, oh no, I don't want to get emotional, but no, y'all, like we really needed this time. And it was just such a blessing. It was such a blessing, babe. So thank you for making that sacrifice.
Let me get another 14 days. I'll take it.
I dig that, bro. For us, man, it's really been a very unique situation for us because this is the longest that we've been together for like 8 years total, married for nearly 5. And we have literally never, ever, ever spent this much time together. We've never been in a situation where, even in college, where we spent this much consistent time together. And I'm gonna be honest, when she said she was gonna be working from home, I was like, dang, man, like, no, like I don't want it, you know. But man, honestly, it has been the most amazing thing. I told her I'm gonna flat her tires when she try to go to work. Like, I'm gonna be on top of the roof, like, no, don't leave me. I'm completely spoiled right now. It's been really cool. I think Nikita and Jamarcus is online. Those two of our friends, man, who here in Florida, and I mean, we've been just doing small things, super small things, but it changes a lot. Like we bought some bikes, so we go bike riding now. Hadn't fallen off of a bike yet. So far, so good. Same for me. But I mean, even though I don't like doing the walks around, sometimes we walk around the neighborhood. We get to run into people. So I think that's been cool. You know, 6 feet distance. What's going on? How you and your family stay over there? Right on. Good. We went fishing a couple days ago, and Aaron was tearing them up. So that was real good. I mean, just
how many did you catch?
We are.
Well, I caught, you caught.
Yeah, like talk like that in front of them. Dang, man. No, but it's been real good. It's honestly been refreshing to be able to be in each other's space, and even to see what she goes through at work, that I'm able to assist in. You know, just as far as like simple things. You know, on her lunch break, I'm fixing her lunch. You know what I'm saying? When she get off work, we get to sit down and talk. We get to, you know, we get the vibe. We get to fill each other out around the clock to really see what's going on. And I think what somebody's cracking up. Another thing that's happened is we've really been able to connect, like intimately, but not just sexually, but like actually intimately. Like we know each other's likes a lot more, and it's different, man. I'm serious. It's really different when you can recognize like when someone is evolving and you can actually like see their evolution. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's something about that that's just been real refreshing for me. And if I had to keep her here at the house for another month, I'd be perfectly fine with it. So that's where we are. Everybody's story is not like that. You know, I'm just very fortunate and blessed to be able to, you know, brag about my wife being here with me.
Really quick, you guys. Okay, so there is a question in the chat. There's a few, okay? So is it harder to ignore the thing that you never really liked about your spouse now that they're home all the time? And if so, how do you get over that?
Can I say it? This is a real question, y'all. Now look,
Rebecca.
Okay, but before we answer that, y'all, like, comment, and share.
Yes.
Share this post with as many people as you possibly can. Well, you share it on your timeline to me with everybody, right? I don't know why I'm pointing at you like that.
Hey, she been going in on your boy snoring. And I'm inside. I'm like, man, I'm inside. She's like, nah, you getting on my nerve with the snoring. And I'm like,
all right, back to the question. You're right. We'll talk about that later.
That's his answer.
That's his answer.
it's all good.
Why did all little women get so turned just now? Like, what's this energy about?
Because apparently it's real. It's real life, bro.
What?
Y'all out here snoring in our ears, and it's too much.
It's true. You'll be happy about just on the couch, just at the crib snoring, no work, no nothing.
Okay. So is it harder to ignore the thing that you never really liked about your spouse? And I'm trying to think. I guess that would be it, right? Snoring.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's hard. I'm not gonna lie. The snoring part is hard. But I will say, but see, that doesn't matter if it's a quarantine or not, because we're still sleeping in the same bed at night. I guess the quarantine has kind of, definitely brought it to light a little more because he's more tired. So I will say it's hard, okay? It's difficult, but here's the thing, all right? And I'm hoping that this is another video for another day, okay? Yeah. Communication, I said this on the last video, right? Communication, it's really important. So I had to, and for us, our means of communication is text message. Don't judge, okay? So if there's something that's wrong or something that I don't like or that he doesn't like, we text it. And that kind of starts that conversation, when we get home. Yes, and then we're able to talk in person. So I had to text him. I think I texted him this ad or something about like ways that you can get like a surgery for snoring. And I sent it to him. He's kind of like, okay, so what you trying to say? Like, what do you mean? Like, we've been together for how long now?
Hey, I'm at my desk at work looking like, what the heck is this? Like, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. She texted me and said 7 in the morning. I'm at work at my desk like, what the heck is this? Yeah, you gotta get this thing snipped and all that. Like, what?
You get your throat sliced open.
yeah, you good if you don't make it, but it's cool.
That's not true. That's not what I was trying to say. But the thing that you don't like, whatever the thing may be, because I get it, you know, in the honeymoon stage of the relationship, we don't really see those flaws, right? And then of course, as the relationship grows and develops, there's some things that come out that you just like, look, we're gonna have to do something about this.
But we have to communicate.
Communicating it. So I lovingly sent my husband a text message about a surgery, right, that he can get to deal with his nose and his sinus cavity and all that.
That is hilarious.
But he knows that it was in love. He knows that.
Yeah, it's all good.
So it's not easy, but you can get through it. You can get through it. And like my sister said, a lot of people are getting divorces right now because they're spending time together. That's crazy, right? That's backwards.
You better not get a divorce off of no snore, girl. God.
I wonder how many people have done that though, right? But either way, we found a way to kind of communicate about it, even though he didn't receive it that well. That's okay, because he knows he snores. He knows that. Yeah. So we're trying to figure out a way on how to deal with that. So it's not a deal breaker. I will say that. It's not a deal breaker, but you got to find ways to be able to talk about that thing that's like, you know what? You know, baby, I love you. I love you so much, but now that we spending more time together, I'm starting to really, really notice this thing about you. And I'm not saying, I think that's one of the things too that we have to remind you guys. I'm a social worker, okay? So we have to pinpoint those things that we don't like and separate it from that person. So it's not about you per se, it's the thing. How do I get to that thing that I don't like and not dehumanize your character, if that makes sense, right? So I'm not saying about you, I don't love you, I just don't like this particular thing. Yeah. So we gotta, get to that root cause of that thing and work that thing out and separate it from that person. Yeah. I love him, but at night, maybe.
Okay, one thing I do want to add to this, and we're going to keep it pushing, but one thing I do want to add to this is that, yes, you want to share the things that you want the other person to work on, but be ready to receive the same type of feedback. Right. You got to be ready to receive that feedback. It can't just be one-sided, beloved. You've got to be ready. You've got to be ready to hear about yourself as well.
I can get real petty.
Right.
Yes. He can. Right. So I'm sharing something. He like, and you know, and I'm like, oh, excuse me. But I just want to put that tidbit in there. Be ready to receive that same energy, boo. Be ready.
Yes.
Rebecca, do y'all have something about y'all? I know Arian was ready to share.
I do have something. But Terrence, do you want to share first? You can share first. Is there something? Okay, so he has done this because he wants me to have that same energy, right? He wants to have that same energy. One thing that I noticed after we got, I guess it's one and the same, but it's two different things. Cabinets or drawers, he does not know how to close them back. He know how to open them.
Yeah. But
the shutting of the door, I don't know what happens, but it just doesn't happen, okay? And I really struggle with that. That is one thing, because it's like somebody ransacked my kitchen. Like, it's drawers open everywhere. It's a mess. I don't like that. Then the other thing, and you know what I'm going to say, is picking up after ourselves. You can pull out a carton of juice. It's only enough left for you. And you just leave the empty carton on the counter.
Want to use the top is off.
Right? Ingenuity.
I might want to change out the
Or
juice.
he could be getting ready to change a light bulb and pull a chair and, you know, to do the light bulb, to stand up on it. And then he changes the light bulb and leaves the chair there. Like,
He's like, yeah.
so that is petty. That is petty, but I struggle with that. That is so irritating to me. That's mine.
Well, I'm only gonna share one thing. That's the watching every kid movie before you go to sleep. We done watched The Black Karate Kid about 100 times since we've been on the shutdown. Like, I hate Jada Smith right now. Like, when I see him, I'm punching him in his face for making that movie. Him and Jackie Chan. Like that movie right now. I hate that movie. Oh,
That's funny.
Listen, don't you want to go to sleep happy? I can't be watching no action-packed movie and people is dying and I start having dreams about people dying and getting shot and blown up. No.
You can find something else. But
I cut you on Richie. I cut on Richie Rich for you.
Okay, now I'm tired of that movie now too.
Oh God. Oh my goodness.
I was gonna say, so I was ready on this one. So for this one,
I'm right here for the record.
I know.
Like,
so to be completely honest, we're being open. So during this quarantine, there's been times that Chris go to that guest room. You know why? Because he talks in his sleep and he yawns. And it's not just like a
yawn.
It's not just like a oh yeah, hey, yeah, or whatever
what kind
in
of
his
yawn?
dream.
Oh, okay.
This is Chris. No lie. No lie, y'all. He is loud. And sometimes he be this close to my face when we sleep. Yes. Yes. I'm like, Chris, get on my face now. But it's just weird.
I feel
like,
attacked.
I'm sorry, but that just came, literally, that happened 3 weeks ago, y'all. And I'm like, babe, where'd that come from? Oh, my God. And then he be, you know, he got his legs over me. That's not too bad.
This is normal.
But he put his body weight over me, so.
Yeah, I ain't heavy.
Oh, my God.
I don't appreciate the judgment. I don't have one. We can go on. We got another question.
Oh my God.
Stick in this topic.
No, I am like dying laughing because Tony does like 90% of the things that y'all talking about. So I'm over here cracking up. Look, he got his head down. Oh my God.
This is not Dash Tony now.
Okay.
Man, I feel that way. Let me see. We got another
This
question.
ain't bash the fellas. That's all we trying to do. We love you guys.
It might be, boy. It might be.
Yeah, it might just be a man thing.
There was one that I pinned, actually, y'all, that I thought was really good.
Yes.
Do you think this quarantine desensitizes intimacy? Go ahead.
Okay, since I didn't answer the last question, that was so insulting towards the fellow male breed. Now I think that it gives you an opportunity to do one or the other, because it can give you an opportunity to desensitize, or it can give you an opportunity to enhance. And I really think that it depends on the couple. For us, it really has given us an opportunity to enhance our intimacy, because it's not a lot of physical activity. Like, anybody who know me know I have the energy of a freaking 4-year-old. Like, I'm like, go, 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 go. And then I take a cat nap, and this is like legit. I'll take like a 15-minute nap, and I got like 20 more hours in me. So I think that it depends on what you choose to do in the opportunity, because you can choose to have it one way or the other. And I know that's not a definite, but I mean, this is one of those things where it's not really a definite answer behind it, in my opinion. That's what I got to say.
For us, that hasn't been the case. And maybe because he's an essential worker, right? So I guess it depends on if you are completely quarantined, right? If it's just you two together, or if you have one spouse or both spouses, right, that are essential workers. Because if that's the case, then your schedule has continued as normal, basically. And for us, it's a little different. So he's still an essential worker. I'm working from home. So he gets home and I'm like, you know, I'm the one that's like, I don't want to say ready to go. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen you all day. How was work? How are you doing? Oh my God. And you know, I'm ready to snuggle up a little bit.
I'm more tired, so it's kind of like, Let me get a nap in real quick, you know, but let me get a nap in, you know, at least. But I don't know. I think it's about prioritizing that time, though. I mean, even though I'm still working, I still need to prioritize her time. And that goes to show as far as the love language side, because she's more into the intimacy and touch. So, I mean, I have to value her time as well.
Yeah. I think we've been trying to find a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been working.
Good.
I was gonna say, so for me, like the intimacy part, I'm not the biggest touchy-feely person. So because we are at home all day together, like we don't have a home office, so our home office is my couch. So, you know, sometimes like we'll be on the same like side of the couch and we'll snuggle, and I had to get used to it, and it's growing on me. I think it was today. I was like, "Oh, you really leaving me? You going to your side of the couch?" He was like, well, my water was over there. But so I'm getting used to that. He's always been that way, though. He's always been like a snuggle person. Even when we were in Central State. Shout out to my HBCU.
Hey, Central, what's up?
We would snuggle in like this twin size bed.
Yes.
So now it's like we have a queen size, and you know I'm learning, and more times than not, you know, I'll turn over, lay on his chest, you know, and snuggle. So we have been doing that more. I would say the quarantine has helped me to be more of the person who snuggles, because we're in each other's space all the time. So we might as well at least like love each other and show affection. And I really haven't really been irritated or anything about more touch most times.
I was gonna say,
oh my God, most times.
Shocker. Surprise. Hey, CSU, what's going on?
Hey. Did anybody not answer the question?
I mean, we didn't, but I think we can keep pushing it. Hey, y'all make sure that y'all continue to ask these questions. If y'all have questions of us about this topic, ask them, and also give your 2 cents. One person did say the hardest thing, because I asked that question of what has been the hardest thing for others, you know, during this time, and they said being single. Can we talk to the singles for a moment? What are some ways, even before our spouses hit the scene, what are some ways that you spent your time alone? Not just with friends, because I mean they can't be, you know, super going out and stuff like that, but what are some things that you all did as a single person before your guy or girl stepped into the picture?
Y'all might not want to hear mine.
I mean, I was more of a homebody, so I really didn't need a lot of people around me. So I think if this was going on like right now while I was single, it'd be like my everyday normal. I mean, I would like every now and then I'd get with my guys and kick it and drink and have a good time like that. But I mean, for me, it was going to work, going home, play the game, go to the gym. I mean, guy stuff. Like that's what Bachelors was doing. So I mean, that was more so like the norm for us.
Can I keep it real with the ladies for a second? All right. So for me, even though I haven't had many, why are you looking at me like that?
Because I'm trying to figure out what you about to say.
All right. So for me, I haven't had many like past relationships, but I was tired. I was sick and tired of like past relationships. So I decided to focus on me. So being quite honest, that time, like for me, like while I was single, was focused on me. So even though like in this time of quarantine, you can't get like, you know, pedicure or massage or things like that, it's important to make sure that you are focusing on yourself. So even if that means, you know, reading a book that somehow enhances, you know, your goals that you may have in your own life, or, you know, maybe some of you may be in school, you know, getting your bachelor's degree, or getting a master's degree, or getting a PhD, you know, whatever that means, you know, focusing on yourself, then do that. I think we mentioned that kind of in the last video, that some people are, you know, like actively looking for a relationship, and you don't really have to do that. You know, as long as you focus on yourself, that other person, you know, that they will come, you know, but when you're focusing on yourself, when they do come along, you'll be in a better place to be able to respond to that person. So that's what I was doing, you know. So whether I would be, I guess if we weren't together, you know, if we weren't in quarantine or whatever, I'd be focusing on myself. You know, but I understand that may be difficult to be able to do when you can't really, you know, leave the house. So there's many different podcasts that you can listen to. There's YouTube videos, just like the marriage club that you can watch. Of course, schooling. There's different courses that you can take, online. Just focusing on yourself. Focus on yourself. Do what you need to do to make yourself a better person.
For sure. I think those are good points. KP, I think those were good points. There's another thing that it is funny because me and my friend, we were actually talking about this today because he felt like the quarantine has desensitized people as far as intimacy and, so forth and so on. I said, I think it's the opposite. And I use the word quality of relationships. So in my opinion, I think the quality of my friendships have actually gone up. And it could be the distance. I can't physically get to my friends, but because they're stationary, some of them are more stationary now. I've been able to talk to them more in the daytime, like before tiredness and fatigue kick in. And I'm realizing there are so many things people are doing right now. So, people are really, really having a good time. So to the single people who may not be in a relationship where you can't get to date, or your buddy right now, then you remember you have like regular friends like that you can engage with. I know a friend right now, they're on a virtual dinner date. So like all of them cook their meals, they all like show their presentation, they talk about what they eat, they sip, they drink, they eat their food. I know another friend who's like, listen, I think we can do a virtual movie night. So they like set their house up like a movie theater. Virtual birthday parties have been going on. It's been so much stuff that you can do. So I just want to encourage you to not get, if this is what you're doing, not saying this is what you're doing, but if you're getting tied up in like, I wish I had Bay here, you know what I mean? I understand. I feel you because I definitely was that person too. There's also another side to it where you have like people that you can lean on, just regular friendships and relationships and family ships that you can lean on to enhance those relationships as well. And I think that'll be, good for you too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking of what Rebecca mentioned, I was just gonna read my girl Marissa. She was just giving her feedback on what Rebecca asked. She said she does have a boo now. Okay, girl. But being single has never been a detrimental thing to me. I appreciate being with someone, but I'm also okay with being by myself. Even now, I'm okay with us having our space. And I'm not going to be long, but just to do a caveat, I was like Tony, you know what I mean? I'm more of a, stay at home and chill, more of a homebody type person. So this really hasn't affected me. And I don't think that it would have really affected me as a single, but that was right. I mean, what Marissa said, just, it's life. You know what I mean? Call somebody on Zoom, you know what I mean? Do the Facebook Live, get together virtually. You know what I mean? Life will go on. It may not be the easiest thing, but you just have to, keep it pushing and we'll be okay.
Absolutely. Did we all answer?
I feel like, yeah. Terry, you got anything, bro?
No, we trying to take care of Trey right now. He's
right on.
Real life. That's real life. So y'all have a baby. Absolutely. You need to attend to my godson.
He trying to get on the marriage club. 18 or up, buddy. 18 or up. So go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
Well, I was just gonna see, like, what has it been like with y'all as far as the couples in quarantine? Yeah, we got the men perspective. What about y'all? How's it been?
Ladies, I kind of gave my answer.
You feel like, all right.
Mine was cuddling, but for me, I honestly have loved it. Like I said, I'm a homebody then, homebody now. So I've loved being at home. I have been stretched. This is something new. I have been stretched to talk more on the phone. So like, doing like Zoom, if people have been calling on Zoom, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be seen right now. I just want to chill. So, just talking more on the phone, reaching out more through text message. And just in our relationship, I would say Chris has learned how to cook. Since we've been here though, since we've been in Florida, Chris has been in the kitchen like Chef Boyardee.
Chef Boyardee. Chef Boyardee. Chris. You feel me?
But yeah, so we've been cooking. We've been just trying to find the little things that matter. This has never happened before. I mean, I'm sure this conversation has been talked about, amongst us as friends, but I've asked my parents and stuff. I don't have grandparents, but I asked my parents, and this has never happened to them in their lifetime. So this is new, but I mean, normally it's like, I need a break from social media, but actually I'm kind of happy we do have like technology and things like that just to keep people connected. Because I can imagine depression probably has gone up. I was just thinking about my family in Indiana and Ohio. Like during this time, we were able to actually go outside and walk and do stuff during quarantine. You know what I mean? I can't imagine what people were able to do if they didn't have the weather. So, you know, we just have to find the little things to help us keep moving during this time.
Absolutely.
And you know, that kind of brings me to the point, like how we talked about in the video, in our, you know, quarantine couples video, we talked about like goals,
Yes.
you know, as a couple. So that's important. Like, I think you'd be surprised how many couples, and this is not, you know, to talk down on anyone at all, but you'd be surprised how many couples don't have goals. You know, that is important, you know, individual goals and goals as a couple. Like for us, for example, for our 10-year anniversary, we want to go to St. Kitts, the island of St. Kitts, and we want to have a renewal ceremony. So a vow renewal ceremony. So that's one of the things that we've been talking about. Like, hey, how do we put this in place so that everybody has a whole year, you know, to be able to pay for that? So we have a lot of time right now. If you're both quarantined, of course, essential workers, that plays in there too. But we all have more time than we've ever had before. So being able to talk about those goals that you have, whether it's individual or whether it's goals as a couple, and actually writing them down. You guys, I cannot tell you how much different things that we have written down on paper, and they've actually started to come true.
Hey, shout out to y'all.
Oh my God.
Y'all the ones that told us to do that. And it's been a huge help for us because all y'all. I mean, because y'all was talking about vision boards and everything, and we never really got into it like that. But now, like, we almost live by it now, like because we constantly evolving, and we want to make sure that we still stand on the same page for each other too. And even though like we have individual goals, but we still gotta have a common goal, and that's us. That's, you know what I mean? So, I mean, we gotta make sure that. And honestly though, I think that's probably why a lot of divorce rates, or even inquiries are going on right now, because people are seeing like, okay, well, you don't want to continue to grow, or you still think that I was the same person that I was at the altar, but we all continuously growing. I don't know why people just think like, oh, well, that's who you marry and then that's it. We all supposed to grow. Like, that's just who we are.
Yes. And people also sometimes in relationships, they grow, I don't want to say grow apart, but they have different goals or different interests, but they never communicate that to each other. You know? So how do I know like where you're growing or what goals you have if we don't talk about it? And we just had like, you know, this New Year's that we had, right? We had a party with our friends. That's also another couple. Shout out to the Johnsons. Y'all know who y'all are. We love y'all so much. And we had a party with them, and we did vision boards. It was a section where it had individual goals, but we also did our goals as a couple. If we never sort out that time together to be able to talk about what we want to do and how we want to grow as a couple, how do I know if you're growing this way and I'm growing this way? We don't know because we're not talking about it. Yeah. So that was so important. I thank God that we usually are all, you know, on the same page. So we're just writing the same thing, right? But for the most part, we want to encourage you guys to write those goals down. Whatever you want to achieve in the future, it doesn't matter if it's 5 years from now, 10, it could be 6 months from now. Write them down. Write them down. That is so important.
So y'all said a lot of good stuff, man. Y'all really did. The goals thing is so important. We do vision boards, and our first vision board we did, literally every single thing on the vision board was done within, I think, 3 years. Yeah. And we had some lofty goals. We had some really lofty goals. So we just did another vision board. And right now we've already accomplished a lot of those things. But it's super important what you said about the growth piece, KP, because when you put your goals down as an individual, and if you don't communicate properly, growth can look like it's pulling you away. because it may require certain sacrifices from you to accomplish your goal, whereas your spouse's goals may be able to be achieved within, like, let's say like a 9 to 5 schedule. Yours might be like a 12 to 12 type thing. And if you don't effectively communicate that, it can look like the person is kind of like counteracting the intimacy, or like running out of energy on you, or not finding you as interesting, or so, and so forth and so on. So that goals and that communication piece is super important. That's more essential than anything, because if you do it the right way, you'll realize, like, if you're working 12 to 12, they're working 9 to 5, they can probably go 9 to 5 with their goals, and then 5 to 7 with your goals, to bring you back home, you see what I'm saying, or back center sooner than what you would have done. So there are things that I'm trying to accomplish that 3 years ago, Arian was not really rocking with me on this. Not that she wasn't supporting me, it's just that she didn't really like tap into like a creative source to help me out with it. Now the goals that I have, Arian is like, oh, what if you did this? And I'm like, dang, this is not even your area of strength, but you like, this is absolutely, you know what I mean? And so she's really been able to help me out a lot. So for those of you who are considering, you know, you got like goals in your head, say that stuff out loud, and say that stuff out loud frequently. But let me give you this piece of advice, because Arian is an operator, right? I'm a visionary. Arian is an operator. I will give you a billion things that I see in my mind. Arian will be like, nope, we can't do 900,999 of those, because, and it's like, wait, we just need one for now. Let's start with one. So let me say this. You have the CEO. I got this from Steve Harvey. You have a CEO who is a visionary. They cast vision. They tell you, this is what we're going to do. This is what it's going to look like. This is what we need. And then you have the COO, the Chief Operating Officer. The Chief Operating Officer they're not going that far. No, we're not doing that. So you want to make sure, as a visionary, you cast your vision, but you need to be able to separate when you're vision casting and when you're just giving like instructions for what's going on. And let the person, I got you, Rebecca, and let the person who has the strength of strategically following, let that be their strength. It's your vision and you can have it, but let that person's strength be their strength so they can help the couple. Because like y'all said, the ultimate goal is for us to be in that number one spot. It's for us to be at the top, not me there and then you following behind. We both want to win. So let your spouse operate in their strength and watch what happens. Rebecca, take it away. Let's go.
So, I mean, we've been a little bit quiet tonight, but I will say this, like, and Terrence, he was pointing to me when he was saying that I am the visionary. However, I am not the visionary when it comes to too sharp.
Oh,
okay. I am not the visionary.
That part was so nice.
That was.
What's the name of that shop again? Can you give it to us?
Sharp cuts, okay? And so listen, the other day, I think it was maybe 3 days ago or so, I just got off of a meeting on Zoom with, you know, just my professional career. And Terrence comes in, he comes in all serious. He sits down at the dining room table and grabs my hands. And I'm like, what is going on? Like this doesn't happen ever. He don't ever come sit at the dining room table. I have to force him, like, come eat over here, you know, or whatever. Yeah. But he just sits down at the dining room table and grabs my hands. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, and my first initial reaction is, he's like, nothing. I can't hold your hands. I like holding your hands. And I said, okay. I was like, what's up? And he was like, you know, we need to come up with a plan. And I said, a plan, like, for what? And he's like, for 2 sharp cuts. And so once he said that, I'm like, oh my goodness, you actually want my input? Like, you know, like, and so I tend to try to stay off of that because I will get dig into the details. I'm thinking, okay, we need data to catapult us for 5 years from now. Right. Like, and so, you know, yeah. And so he started asking my opinion, and I said, okay, well, how about we do a Google survey? We need to get some data on your clientele as far as the days that they want to get their haircut and the times, so that when you're offering content, you know that it's going to be scheduled, you know, you're gonna be booked, you know what I mean, and not offering up times when people aren't available, you know. And I just start going like, you know, I said, and then we need to connect your cut app to this and this, and we need to do, you know, and I start going all this. He's like, no. Right now, I'm trying to discuss keeping everything sanitized, keeping everything healthy, mask, you know, all like the basic things of starting back up cutting. But I'm thinking about, okay, this is a perfect opportunity because ain't nobody going nowhere. This is a perfect opportunity to get data on our clientele, you know, and I'm just, you know, and he's like, no, like, you know, stop. You want to say something? Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say, babe. Your perspective.
My perspective was, I was just trying to figure out how to safely open back cutting hair without putting anybody else in jeopardize of catching anything. So I was just focused of going little by little by little. She was like a year ahead. Like she jumped to like next year when we ain't talking about coronavirus or nothing. I was just talking about like this weekend.
Right. And I wanted him to be prepared, you know? And so when Terry was pointing to me, Chris, when you were talking about who's the visionary and who's, I don't remember what you other said, but truthfully, when it comes to Too Sharp Cuts, Terrence is the visionary. And so, and that's when I get analytical because I want to see him win. And y'all, and guess what, y'all? There's going to be a video about discussing your finances and financing your significant other's dream, and that's coming soon. So I want you to know that is coming soon, that we're going to talk about that. But one thing before we end tonight, we ain't really talked about it, but we need to talk about coming back together physically. We need to talk about coming back together, you know, with the intimacy, and daddy and mama, I know y'all said she will be the one to bring that up, but I am my parents' daughter. Not just like, I'm just saying, y'all. I love y'all so much. They gonna get me. I'm sorry.
She gonna get you.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I want to talk about that because from a Christian perspective, here we go. Y'all, and I said it on the past live, sex is a good thing. If you're married and you're not having it, beloved, it was made for y'all. Come on. And we talked about that on the video. We talked about spicing it up, dressing up, you know, initiating in a different place. We talked about those things. And then, but one of the things that go hand in hand with trying something new is communication. That goes back to communication, y'all. You have to communicate where your boundaries are when it comes to what you are open to doing physically. Right. And I think Chris hit on it on the last live, talking about, no, if you're directing somebody to say, oh, do it like this and this and this, and then you start picturing another partner in your mind and not your spouse, that is playing with fire, in my opinion. And so you all having an open, honest conversation when it's going down, that's not the time, beloved, because you're gonna ruin the moment. However, let us discuss a strategic time, you know, when y'all could just be chilling on the couch and like, babe, you know, I really want to talk to you about something, and begin to share, and then see what are each other's green lights and what are each other's red lights, you know. There's certain things that I know Terry ain't down with, so I ain't even gonna try it, you know, and there's some stuff that I ain't down with, he's not gonna try it. But if we don't ever discuss what our green light and red lights are, we'll never know. And so I do want to encourage you all, talk about your sex lives with one another.
We're gonna pass that to Kanisha. I saw you raise your hand.
Yes. So that goes back to communication. Like you said, being aware of their likes and their dislikes. And I also, you know, want to put out that if there's something that's, you know, something that has upset you, you know, during the day, or there's something else that's going on that you just, you know, not really with it, you know, make sure you communicate that to your partner, because they don't read minds. So you have to, you know, let them know what you're not uncomfortable with, what you are comfortable with. And once you get all that stuff on the table and you're able to talk about it and discuss it, when you are connecting physically or sexually, there's no bound. I won't say boundaries, but there's no limits with that, right? You're able to feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Free, you know, with your partner, because everything else has been laid out on the table. But that's part of that communication. You know, letting them know what you are comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, and not being afraid to do what you want. You know, if you want to buy a swing or something from Amazon, I'm sure they got them. You know, something that
yeah, they got
something that, you know, lightens your, you know, or heightens your, I don't know, sexual life, physical life, whatever.
It's okay.
You know,
I'm thinking about
I was thinking about that text message situation that happened. Do you remember that in our group message?
What? Yes, we did talk about it in our group message. We gonna probably have to revisit that one.
Okay, sorry. But y'all get what I'm saying. Okay, y'all get what I'm saying. That once you lay everything out on the table and you're able to, because when you're intimate or when you're physical and something's off, you can tell.
Yeah.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong, you can tell if something's off.
Yeah.
So that is what I mean when I say the communication is so important. You know, communicating that with your partner beforehand so that when you are intimate or physical, what have you, you know, you feel more comfortable with that.
And I was gonna answer, our friend Marissa had asked us the question. We were gonna get back to her other one, but she mentioned she wanted us to answer another question. She said, so how do you adjust if one partner is less experienced? And it still goes back to communication. So for me, I was the less experienced one. And even let's just do the basics with kissing. Not to be like super deep or anything like that, but with kissing, that is probably the biggest like type of communication, like before you start anything with intimacy or sex. So for me, kissing, I'm not the biggest feely or touchy person. So I had to learn how to like kissing. I had to learn how to do all these things. And it's just a matter of, Rebecca said something that was really good. Don't say it in the moment. Like, I don't think Chris has ever been like, yo, do you know how to kiss? This ain't it. I don't think he ever like said that
Never.
in the moment. You know what I mean? Because that just ruined everything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what you mean I can't kiss? Bro, you can't kiss. That's what I mean. No. But no, he's never did or said anything like that. So it's a patience thing. Like everybody, you know, for lack of better words, everybody doesn't have the same intimacy level. Everybody don't have the same body count. Let's just be all the way real. So you just got to be patient and be open to, you know, talk and communicate with your partner. Like what you like, what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important thing, what you don't like. Yeah. So if it's somebody who's less experienced, you know, just, I guess I would say and communicate with them like, hey, if you don't like this or if this is going too far, just be open.
Yeah.
The more open you are, the better your experience.
And I just want to put this brief caveat to it. That's not a disclaimer for you to go and get experience from a lot of people.
Oh, right.
Just throwing that out there. You know, we're not suggesting that you need to, I mean, and so yeah, that's my big. I think she said everything that I would have said, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say this, like if, let's say that neither one of you are really like super experienced, that allows you an opportunity to really explore and figure it out together. And that can be a huge bonding experience for sure. That really can. We have so many amazing questions coming up, y'all, in this on this feed. I don't know if y'all are looking, but y'all are amazing on bringing in so many questions, and we just want to thank you so much for that. Go ahead, Nish.
Okay, so I really apologize, you guys, if I am missing anybody's question. But I see a question where it says, what do you do when you've expressed to your spouse that you need attention or affection and quality time, but they're not putting forth the effort?
Can I talk about it a little bit, or can we talk about it a little bit? One of the things, it is love languages. If y'all haven't read the 5 love languages, y'all need to read the 5 love languages together. Together. It can't just be one person. Y'all gotta read it together. And I think I talked about it in the first live, the live from last week. you have to be speaking in the language in which your spouse speaks, right? Baby, go get Trey because he's showing out. And y'all, real life, okay? I'm not apologizing for it because we're real parents. But I will say this. It is so important for you to be able to communicate in which the way that your spouse receives love. For an example, you might be giving gifts to your spouse and you giving gifts all day long and like, oh, thanks. And they don't seem appreciative. It's because that don't mean none of them. Come on, let's be real. It could be that what really means a lot to them is you sitting on the couch and just looking at them. Hey, babe, how are you? You know what I'm saying? That quality time, y'all. And so when they said that it didn't feel like they were putting any effort, you all need to sit down and have a discussion about how you receive love. It may not be that he or she isn't putting forth effort. They just don't know what language you speak.
Yeah.
It could be that. I saw Niche hand first, but I'm gonna go. Well, I'm trying to spread the web. So whoever
it's
feels
okay, Chris.
good,
Go ahead, bro. It's okay. Go ahead, bro.
Mine is quick. Mine is super quick for the first time. So that doesn't mean that they don't know the love languages because they can know them. Yet that may mean that you guys need to have let's update the app. Let's hit the refresh. Let's hit the restart button, and let's talk about what I like now. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. Go ahead, Niche.
So what I was gonna say is that it's important to also be able to discuss, past traumas as well with your partner or your husband or your spouse. Sometimes I may find, my spouse, he's in deep thought, right? Like we may be having a conversation or whatever, and I notice that he's just, kind of just in this trance or in the daze or whatever you want to call it. It's I won't say my job because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but me being in tune with who he is, I'm noticing that the wheels are ticking, right? So maybe I'll say, babe, I noticed that it seemed like you're thinking about a lot. What's up? What's on your mind? So even though it may seem as if they're not being responsive or receptive to your needs, it may just mean they got a whole lot going on up here and they don't know how to sort it out, if that makes sense. So even though we're not, therapists or counselors or anything of that nature, but sometimes just having that conversation and being, cognizant of what's going on and saying, hey, baby, look like you're thinking about a lot. You okay? Or what's going on? And one thing I also want to say is that sometimes our nature, I don't know if this is a culture thing or not, but I will say sometimes this is what we do. If someone asks us, our spouse, for example, right? If our spouse says, are you okay? Because Tony does this to me all the time. He'll ask me about, am I okay? Because he sees all over my face that something ain't right. And I'll say, I'm good. I'm okay. And deep down inside, I'm screaming, I'm not okay. So sometimes all we have to do is just be cognizant, be aware that it's a lot going on up here and they just don't know how to sort it out. I am not saying that it is your job to help them sort it out. I'm saying that it is important for us to be aware that there's a lot going on up here and they may just not know how to sort it out, and that is okay. But it's important when you're aware that it's something going on here because that makes you aware, right? Okay, maybe there's just something going on. Maybe I just need to sit back and support them, whatever that means to them. Okay, in terms of support, that's our job. That is what I mean. So if that is going to couples counseling or, whatever, or just having some time to just be outside and just sit, and it's okay if neither one of you are talking. Sometimes silence is golden. You're not saying a lot, but you're sitting together in each other's presence and just being there in the moment. But just being aware that sometimes there's a lot going on sometimes. like I said, it could be past traumas, it could be anything that's going on, and they just don't know how to sort it out. Yeah. So if they don't know how to sort it out, they also don't know how to, you know, I don't want to say connect with you in the way that you want to be connected, because, you know, like we've discussed, love languages mean a lot, right? And sometimes our love language may be different. Yeah.
That helped us a lot, because I've never been a very affectionate person. Not into the hugging and kissing and all that. I've never been that way, like how Arian was saying. So once we both realize each other's love languages, it's up to us to make the sacrifices to respect one another's love language, if that makes sense. If I love you that much, I'm going to do whatever it takes to at least respect it, and also show you I know your love language, and I'm at least showing you that I care. Yeah. And the same for her. Like me, I'm big on words. You express you love me. You express I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. Some guy, and everybody's different. Everybody's different. But a lot of us black men, we don't hear that a lot. We don't hear a lot of the good things that we're doing. We hear more negative things that we're doing. And so we thinking a lot. We constantly thinking. We constantly trying to make sure that we're making you happy, that we're doing our thing that we're supposed to do at work, and making sure that we meeting all our proper paperwork or whatever the case may be. But that's what mattered for me. So I had to make those sacrifices to make sure that I'm hugging her, kissing her, massaging her, doing all these different things to make sure that you're good. I had to.
That's for sure, man. I just took notes down for two different things. One, what I'm hearing you guys say is that you have to be each other's peace. And let me say this, because everyone's not in a relationship as we've identified. So think of it as dating yourself, right? So I'm going to say there, but I still mean, you know, I mean it for everyone. You with yourself, or you as a spouse, you have to be you have to be their peace. If they're sitting there and they're trying to get something out, but you can see that they're struggling with it. And let me tell you, let me be raw with, you know what I'm saying, how it may look. It may look like it's dry. It may look like it ain't going up. You see what I'm saying? It may look like it's lit. That's what I mean by that. Like, in other words, his male part. Like, it may seem like that. That doesn't mean they're not into you. It doesn't mean they're not trying to have this moment with you. It's just that they just have, it's clogged. You know, what's clogged? Their peace is clogged. They need a flow of peace. They need a conversation. They need a physical touch versus just trying to jump straight to it. And so, you know, it's important. That physical touch, that love, that kiss, that hug, it could get the rivers flowing. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about just right there before you're about to get it on, but are you that person's peace throughout the day? Are you telling your spouse, are you telling yourself, I love you, in the middle of the day on a Tuesday for no reason when your hair nappy? Like, when nothing is going on, I got this quarantine cut going on, and I don't feel any less love. A little more verbal communication, but you know, ain't no less love in the whole thing. So one, be that person's peace, be your own peace. And another thing is, Tony, you said something earlier that I really identify with, and it's like feeling like you have a safe space. Yes. You know what I mean? And I think that was one of the but that's for sure one of the things that we struggle with. There was a time I didn't feel like I could be open and honest about what I'm going through, who I am right now, and how I feel. Even though a lot of that stuff was wrong, we couldn't have that conversation because I wouldn't bring it up. So, yeah. And again, this even applies to yourself. Are you having these real conversations with yourself? Are you your own peace? Can you be your peace? Can you talk to yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? We need to address some things that happen and feel safe and feel comfortable with it. And I think those are primary things. You talk about whether it be relationship or it be leveling up on your own. You have to be your peace. And you have to have an open space of communication. If I feel like I can't talk to you, I can't get the growth that I need in order for us to do better.
Yeah. Sis, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that is so important. A couple of things, y'all. First of all, we always assume that the male, like, they are a physical love language. And so we have to ensure that we are not putting our men in a box Safe space, like that's so real. Specifically Black men, they gotta be tough all day long, 24/7. But you ladies, you are the place of their safeness where they want to be vulnerable. And if you're not making that place safe, they will never have that opportunity to really lay down their burden and share their heart. And so I would encourage you, single, dating, engaged, married, whatever, to real and recognize, and I'm specifically talking about to Black women in this moment, is that it is okay for your man to cry. It is okay for them not to be okay. You better man up. That's what they've been hearing their entire life. Even as a 12-year-old, I think Tamir Rice was like, 12 or something like that. You automatically think that they grown and that they this tough, demeanor, and you are allowing them to feel their feelings, and emotions is how God has wired us, and so I would encourage us to allow us to be that safe space. You know what I mean? Like Terry is not a crier, but when he cries,
that sin hurts overboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a crier, so like whenever I do cry, it's something that's really deep. But when I do cry, that sends her all the way over the top, because she's emotional, but when she see me cry, that makes her like super emotional.
It does?
Yeah.
You don't feel me as a solid rock when I be holding you?
Yeah. I'm saying, but it's like, you opening up in front of me, so that makes you more emotional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like when he's emotional, I'm like, oh my God,
Hey, that's how it was in New Orleans.
Yeah, listen.
Man.
There was something else I wanted to say, and I can't remember, and I'm so sad I can't remember, but that's okay. So I guess that's all that needed to be said.
Yes, and just not to be the bearer of bad news, y'all, but just wrapping it up, and I'm just not going to cut everything out, but just touching on what Rebecca is saying. When we were in New Orleans, let me put this out there. This isn't just a marriage thing. When you with your girls, when you with your guys, it's okay to have those moments of vulnerability. So we had a very vulnerable moment where we shared some things that was on our hearts, some things that has never been shared out in the open, and some tears were flowing. You know what I mean? And not only did we do this, in front of our spouses, but we did this in front of other people's spouses. Rebecca, Kanisha, and myself, we're friends. We grew up, since middle school, so 12 years old. So we kind of have that space. But for our awesome, handsome, strong men to actually, open up, that was an honor. So I just kind of want to caveat on what Rebecca was saying. Women in general, and Black women, just help our men. Our men has a lot that's on their shoulders. Just do your part, and your part doesn't necessarily have to do for them. Your part can just be being a listening ear and not always talking over them or thinking that you know best. Just let them bear their heart. If they're not ready, that's cool. Give them space to say what they need to say when they need to say it, and they will. And last question, I'm gonna make it quick. Sorry, Marissa, but your question was, do you communicate these things? And I'm just gonna wrap that up in everything. I think you meant, I am. She said, do you communicate these types of things before marriage? I believe she was talking about sex, but I'm just going to do this all as an all-encompassing question. You do communicate your likes and dislikes, a communication about sex, and not just sex, anything. Be open. But one thing I do want to put a point on, if they are not open, don't dismiss it or don't be upset. Just be patient. A lot of times we're so quick to jump into marriage, and marriages work. Marriage will have you on your face with skid marks. You know what I mean? So don't be so quick to jump into marriage. It is work. Be happy with learning yourself inwards and out. Be happy with that. I'm sorry, y'all. Look, y'all got your finger. Was that one finger like to go?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to just tidbit off of that. When you said, dang, what did you say? The last half of what you said. Say it again.
Girl.
Listen,
go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say this. At the same time, I think you probably know where I'm going with this. If that person is listening to your goals and you're listening to theirs, and those goals don't align while you're not married,
yes,
I wouldn't give them grace to marry them based off of potential. If they're telling you no about whatever these things are, chances are that's going to be a no if you guys get married. So I don't want to make it sound all sweet and good. You know what I'm saying? You know, you sis too, but that's for anyone. If a person is telling you that they're a white, black, and green person, that's what color they are. They could evolve into different colors in the future, but you're risking it if you try to marry a white, black, and green person and hope they turn pink, red, and yellow. That probably ain't gonna happen. That was my caveat.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as far as authenticity, that is extremely important before marriage. Like, if you are dating in hopes of being married, you need, like, let's be clear, ain't no games being played. One of the things that Terry and I did, like, I let him know up front. I'm like, look, I ain't dating just to date, bruh. You know, and he said, well, I'm not dating just to date either. You know what I mean? Like, dating on purpose is really important. And so, and I think that should be a video, y'all. I don't know about how y'all feel, but I think that should be a video as far as dating.
I agree.
Or a series. But that is really important because I think it's very easy to get in a whole bunch of relationships that aren't going anywhere because you don't have a vision of what you want. And you haven't communicated that with whoever you're dating. And so it is very important for you to be your whole authentic self. Beloved, don't be fake. Get to the altar and then you change up on somebody. Come on. Be your 100% authentic self. You trying to be some fake person just to get them down the aisle, and then when it's time to be your real self, they're like, I ain't signed up for this. You a whole different person. Now, we're not talking about evolution. We're not talking about evolving. I'm talking about a quick, like, you're not even recognizable at all. Like, you know, you have completely different type of tendencies and stuff like that. So I just wanted to encourage people to be your authentic self. Be your whole, walk your whole truth. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to be married, make it known. If they ain't trying to be married, they may not be for you, sis or bro. Like, they may not. So that's all I want to say, Arian.
No, that's good. So I just wanted to open that up because I can feel, you know, us flowing. So I didn't want to just cut ourselves off. But I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for joining in. These were some awesome questions. Do not be surprised if we turn around and make your questions a video. I'm letting you know now. But thank you so much. And once I also want to say, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Marriage Plug. Like our Facebook page, TikTok, Instagram. Please go and support. Share this video with your friends, with your family, everybody. Tag people, hashtag, do whatever. And thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for your support, your feedback, your input, everything. Also, we will be dropping our next video next week, Friday in the morning. So keep your eye out for that. You can still watch it, even if you're not a subscriber, but that is more of a reason to subscribe to
We need y'all subscriptions.
Yes, please support us.
Next Friday. We love you guys. Thanks for your questions, and we will see y'all next time.
Yes.
Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.